All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Footy Call. I know we're back after a long time, but we have some exciting content for you. Today, we have with us Mr. Paul, we all know as Chelsea, Mr. Chelsea. And we also have Adi here, the Man United fan that we also love. Okay, now let's get started. So, just a brief description about the episode that we'll get going here. Today, we've decided to review all of the top six clubs' performances after 6 games in the season. So, let's see what our panel here thinks of that. Okay, so over to you, Adi. The first club that we want to discuss is Arsenal.
I think Arsenal have had a very good start to the season with the signings they've made. Jesus, Zinchenko, Vieira, and Saliba coming back. They have got good depth in the squad, and they started off very well with 5 wins in 6 games. So I think they've started off very well.
Okay, all right, pal. Now let's hear it from you. Arsenal. We know how much of a Arsenal hater you are, so let's get on with the hate.
I think that's a bit of a overstatement saying that I'm a Arsenal hater, but I'd like to contradict what Adi said right now. I know there's a lot of hype around Arsenal right at this moment in time. I think but I'd say the only quality opposition that they've played is Manchester United, and Eric Ten Hag pretty much nullified their whole approach. He basically said that if you allow Arsenal to play, then you're in trouble. And it wasn't very difficult for him to nullify them in that game at Old Trafford. So I think when they come to a point where they're playing Europa League and Premier League, I think they'll begin to struggle. But for now, so far so good.
Okay, so just one last question on Arsenal, guys. Will they, after the start they have, win the Premier League? Because we know we just saw a video of Arsene Wenger saying it's their year. Adi.
I don't think they're going to win the Premier League because it's City's league. We have known this for a very long time. After they signed Haaland and the start they've had, I think it's City's league, not Arsenal.
I won't ask Pal this question because I mean we mostly know what he's
I
going to
don't
say.
think Arsenal finished top four. I don't think they
See,
finished
we
top four.
you heard it here first, folks. Yeah. So let's move on now. Let's move on to the next big club that's been, I mean, sort of underperforming. And you know which club we're talking about. They just fired their manager. No surprises there, and they hired somebody we don't really think is going. I don't really think is going to succeed. Graham Potter in at the bridge. We are going to talk about Chelsea next. Let's talk to Pal first.
Scandalous, I must say. Okay, so I'm gonna come out and say it. I think Graham Potter is pound for pound after Pep Guardiola the best manager in the Premier League right now. I think pound for pound. With the job that he did at Brighton, he changed the philosophy and the outlook of that football club. And right now, he's been brought to a club where he's already got a 500 million squad, and Todd Bowley is going to fund more 300 million in January. Apparently, that's what we've been told. And Potter is more of a data driven coach, more of a modern coach. He's a little similar to Arteta as well, but I feel he's the better manager. So I think in the next few coming years, you guys should be looking out for Chelsea. I know they've been struggling right now, but just look out.
Okay, so 500 plus 300 million in one season. Clearly, Pal thinks FFP does not apply to the Premier League. Okay, let's move on to Adi. What's your take on Chelsea?
So you are saying that you need 600 million for your club just to finish in the top four.
Yes.
So that speaks volume about the club, which comes back to the point that Chelsea is a business club. They're not focused on the footballing aspect. So that's another debate. But as for Potter, I don't think he's that good because you just replaced a Tuchel with Potter. Potter only has managed Brighton up to this point in the Premier League, and he has done a commendable job. But you replaced Tuchel with him when you had Pochettino as well. So you could have gone with him as a safer option as well. But I don't think Potter is going to succeed. Another loss in the Champions League, and we are going to hear rumors about him being sacked.
we're winning our next four games. Just watch this. Uh, first of all, I just want to say very sad news about the Queen passing, but this preseason that has come up, that mini preseason that Potter has gotten, I think it's going to be very effective when football returns.
Just keep in mind that you have both home and away against Milan in the Champions League, by the way.
And they'll be good games. I'm really excited to watch them.
I'll be excited to watch what Rafael Leao does to Chelsea. But anyway, let's now move on to another big club that has misfired in the first two games of the season, but now is sort of resurgent in the wake of other such clubs. So let's talk about Manchester United. Let's talk about United. Let's talk to Adi first.
I think United have turned it around, and Eric Ten Hag has figured out that you don't need Ronaldo and Maguire in the squad right now, at least in the starting 11, because they are just hampering the way wants to play football at United. So I think he has found the right balance with the players that he has, and now we just need to add depth to the squad.
I would also say Lindelof, by the way. Lindelof and Maguire, they can leave the club. I don't care.
But we
Get
need them
out.
for the depth.
We need them for the depth, yes, but I mean, we can just sign. I don't know some. I don't really think Maguire should be at the club personally. But anyway, let's move on to Pal.
85 million of the king's finest, as we have to say now. So I feel United. I feel this is a false storm. I think eventually the season will collapse as it inevitably does in the last few years. And I think the personalities at the club not playing will cause it to do so. I think Eric Ten Hag is a good coach. I think you have good players there, but I just think you have too many toxic personalities there. And plus, you have the Glazers who are just, by the way, everybody's forgotten about the Glazers. The whole Glazers out movement was happening 1 month back. Everybody's forgotten about.
No, there's a rumor that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is looking to make a bid for United. So I don't think we have lost this
There
team,
was
but
another.
it's just died down a bit. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's died down, and again this rumor, maybe he does make a bid, but again these rumors are also sometimes designed to bump up the share in the stock market, so that the Glazers basically they make money off Manchester United in the stock market almost all the time.
All right, guys. So that was Pal. Let's move on to the next club here, Liverpool, a fallen giant, huh? This season, I mean, it's been appalling. It really has been appalling. They can't even defeat Everton. You know, personally, I think they're really out of the race right now. But let's hear it from Adi and Pal. Adi, go ahead.
So I had predicted that Liverpool will struggle this season, and I know the guys will not admit this, but I knew that Liverpool will struggle this season because their attack is very monotonous. I feel, and Sadio Mane gave them a different dimension, but with the injuries of Jota and Salah not performing the way he usually does, I think Liverpool's attack is not firing right now. So I think they're going to recover from this position, but I don't think they're going to finish in the top four.
Just a question for Adi and Oru. What do we think? Do we think Nunes gets double figures this year in the Prem?
I think he does because the team is structured in a way to supply chances to him. So I think he does.
In the Premier League, he does. I think he does. But definitely, I'll settle the Haaland versus Nunes debate right now.
Yeah, that was like comparing, I don't even have a comparison to be fair. Haaland is. We'll get on to Man City eventually and speak about the man. But speaking about Liverpool, I think Klopp will dig them out. I think Jurgen Klopp is a special manager, and he'll do something in January. And also, you have to remember that this year the World Cup is in the middle of the season, so I feel we'll be watching two separate seasons in one Premier League. Will a team in form before the World Cup might not necessarily be in form after the World Cup. Likewise, the other way, a team who's not in form might be playing really well when they come back in January. So anything can happen. So let's not judge in September.
All right. Good points. Good points by Pal here. So let's move on to Man City now. I mean, we don't really have much to talk about Man City. It's been business as usual for them. Um, Win after win after win, Haaland scoring all the time. Adi, go ahead.
Well, we all predicted that Man City will win the league, and they're doing just that. With the signing of Haaland, they just made it much more difficult for other teams to stop him. So I just don't see anyone else, matching them.
I think one factor that rivals were clinging on to was the continuous failing of Jack Grealish. £100 million you spend on a player, and he's barely scored 9 goals. So he's all all of a sudden, he started scoring again. Also, as we speak, in the current game week, he scored again. So I there's really, again, as Oru said, there's nothing to say about Man City. I think they'll walk the league. I think they're gonna walk the Champions League as well. Any game, Haaland will come back and Haaland will just score. And he's the
I think Man City will not win the Champions League because there are teams that are performing very well, and Bayern have had a slow start to the season, but I think they'll pick up as well. And Barcelona, don't underestimate them because they're a very good side right now. So I think they can also go all the way in the Champions League. And Real Madrid, they haven't lost a game this season, so I think they are also top contenders.
Well, take it from me. PSG is winning the league this year. I mean, the Champions League. So you heard it here first, folks. Now we'll move on to the last club here, Tottenham Hotspurs. Not a lot to talk about. Conte has been a little underwhelming. Not a good start either to the European campaign. Adi, take it ahead.
I don't think they've had a bad start to the league, but yes, the European competition, Conte struggles with the European competitions. We know that he struggled with Inter, Chelsea, and all the other clubs that he has been at. But in the Premier League, I think Conte is doing a very good job, and I think they can finish second and can push Man City to the limit.
I agree. I think Spurs promised a lot at the start of the season, but the football they've been playing lately not very inspiring. And but Conte has that something, and he has those players to dig him out. I think Son not being on form is hurting them a lot. They need Tottenham need Heung-min Son to be in form. If Son gets in form and Kane continues to fire, I think you can see Spurs comfortably finish top four, maybe challenge for a trophy this year. If not, if they don't get Son firing, then it's looking tough. I'm not sure.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Join us next time for Pal's ridiculous insights and Adi's trivia. All right. Thank you, guys. Do like, share, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do.